Hi, my name is Courtney O'Connor, and I'm going to be talking to you all about classical Greece. The classical Greece time period occurred in the decade between 490 and 480 BCE. This period of time was sparked by the Athenian Golden Age, which consisted of a period of unsurpassed cultural achievement. The reason it is referred to as the classical period in Greece is because this time period was responsible for forming the basis of Western tradition. Greece went through some political reforms during this period. There were a few important people that are held responsible. The first person is Draco. Draco created the actual first set of code of laws in Athens. These laws included creating a single standard of justice to all the people of Athens, including the aristocrats, the commercial class, and even the poor farmers. Solon also had a big part of the political reform. Solon reformed the civil administration of Athens. To do this, he divided Athens into four classes according to their income. There were the measurement, the horsemen, the yokemen, and the laborers. He allowed people from every class to be involved in political assembly debates and sit on juries. He even ended debt slavery, which is when people paid off debt by becoming the creditor's slave. Pisistratus also did his fair share of reforming. In order to help people economically, he redistributed large estates owned by the wealthy and gave parts to the needy farmers, reducing the lower class. He also encouraged the development of Greek theater, and authorized the first editions of the Iliad and the Odyssey to scholars and students. Clisthenes made a big impact on the reform. Clisthenes divided Athens into what they called demes. Demes are pretty much like the division of different neighborhoods, but there was a total of 10 sections, and they were labeled the 10 tribes of Athens. These demes helped develop the first democracy. Each tribe would randomly select 50 people to represent their tribe on the council. The council would then elect 10 people every year to run the city, kind of like a mayor. In 490 BCE, the Greeks realized just how much of a threat the Persians were. Darius was the head of the Persian army for the first battle between the Persians and the Greek. Darius led his army for a surprise attack on the Greek, only to be confronted by nearly 10,000 Greek soldiers, who ended up killing almost 6,000 Persians. After the defeat, the new Athenian general, Themistocles, prepared his army for the day when the Persians would want their revenge. Xerxes led the Persians in this battle and surprised Themistocles with an army that was much bigger than his. This battle completely destroyed the city of Athens. Eventually the war ended when Themistocles outsmarted the Persians by retreating to the island of Salamis, where he knew he would be followed. When the Persians sailed after him, they were destroyed in the narrow bay. Finally, within the next year, there were no trace of the Persians. Although the Persians were gone, complete destruction was left behind them. The Greeks had no choice but to rebuild their city. The first thing rebuilt were the city walls. After this came the marketplace, and the council chamber, the courthouse, and the shops. The temples on the Acropolis were left untouched during the restoration. The ruins were left to remind the citizens of the Persian aggression. Eventually, the people decided it was their duty to rebuild the temples to honor Athena. The Athenian leader Pericles took on the challenge, while a man named Phidias was under artistic and administrative supervision. Over 22,000 tons of marble were used to restore the temples. Greek architecture is pretty well recognized. There are three different orders of architecture which include Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. Doric is the oldest and simplest form of architecture between the three. There are a few characteristics that make it noticeably different from the others. On the top of the pillar is the abacus, and for the Doric order it is the shape of a square block. Below it is the echinus, which is a cushion-shaped, and these pillars do not have a base beneath the column. The Ionic columns were more decorative than the Doric. They were characterized by the scroll above the shaft of the column. The shaft consisted of flutes, which were lines carved from top to bottom. In contrary to the Doric order, the Ionic had a base that was rather large and appeared to be a stack of rings. The third and final order is the Corinthian. The main difference is the curling leaves at the top of the column. You may have noticed this more in Roman architecture, because they ended up favoring it more than the Greeks later on. Greek sculpture during this time period mainly focused on the human figure. During this time, sculptures of humans became much more detailed and realistic. You can notice that the posture of the figures are more relaxed and lifelike. You can also see true muscle tone, bone structure, and the way the skin lays, that there is a better understanding of the human body and how it works during this time. The Creatos boy and Praxiteles sculptures are quite well known in this time period. The sculptures of nude females like the Praxiteles became quite popular in the classical period of Greece. Drama in Greece was actually developed through choral celebrations, which honored the Greek god of wine and fertility, Dionysus. These celebrations included dancing. What changed this into drama was a poet named Thespis who introduced a speaker into the celebrations. This developed dialogue, which created drama. Three very famous plays include Sophocles, Euripides, and Aristophanes. These plays represent the transition into a Greek society ruled by law. Classical Greece philosophy was very important. It broke away from the mythological approach of explaining our world and included actual reasoning. Philosophy believed that human beings' ability to reason is what distinguished them. The most influential philosophers included Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.